Huatingxian suffers from severe manic disorder, and I serve as his emotional stabilizer. Those around us are well aware that as long as I am present, he will not lose control and harm others. He welcomed me into his social circle, introduced me to his parents, and referred to me as his closest brother in conversation with others. Yet, unbeknownst to him, I harbor an uncontrollable affection for him. However, I am fully aware that he is heterosexual. Therefore, after graduating from university, I quietly departed. 1. I once again severed the call with Huatingxian. Several days have passed since the commencement of the semester, and he must be aware that I have not reported for duty. During these days, he has inundated me with numerous calls, all of which I have dared not answer. I can only imagine his fury on the other end of the line. After all, it was an agreement between us to pursue graduate studies at our alma mater. Yet, I clandestinely altered my examination institution to Sichuan University. With his capabilities, he must have uncovered the fact that I did not even apply to our school. Indeed, shortly after I hung up, WeChat notifications from Huatingxian flooded in, a barrage of voice messages, each lasting 60 seconds. I clicked on the last one. His voice, laced with rage, surged forth. "Chan Su, how dare you toy with me? You had better disclose your whereabouts. I might still grant you a chance for redemption, make your demise a little more dignified. If you continue to ignore my calls and messages, pray that I do not find you, for I assure you, I will not let you off easily. Return my call, do you hear me?" Huatingxian had never spoken to me in such a tone. Upon hearing it, my hands trembled involuntarily, and in a moment of panic, I sent an audacious reply. Realizing the gravity of my message, I hurriedly attempted to retract it, but it was too late. The very next second, Huatingxian's reply came through. His voice gritted with fury, as if he were poised to rend someone limb from limb. "Chan Su, you possess audacity, daring to provoke me? Very well, await your demise." 2. I first encountered Huatingxian during my freshman year while he was in his second year. That year, my parents had made a considerable profit from their business, prompting me to apply to a university in the capital for my college entrance examination. The students at this institution hailed from affluent families, and Huatingxian's family resided at the pinnacle of this hierarchy, unrivaled in their dominance. Their family was enigmatic and immensely powerful, casting a long shadow over others, with no one daring to provoke them. Among the elite students, Huatingxian was notorious for his volatile temperament, reputed to be difficult to approach. Suffering from a form of mania, he was drawn to activities that could exhaust his energy: boxing, mixed martial arts, racing, bungee jumping, and an array of extreme sports. His greatest passion, however, lay in brawling. Before I arrived, he frequented the seedy bars, engaging in fights multiple times a week. It was under such circumstances that I crossed paths with him. 3. It was a rainy day when I first encountered him. Due to acclimatization issues, I had spent my military training in the hospital and had only just moved into the dormitory today. Upon exiting the school gates, I intended to find a place to dine nearby when I spotted a man stumbling out of a bar not far away. His clothes were wrinkled and marred with mysterious footprints, and his face was smeared with blood as he knelt on the ground, pleading for mercy. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I truly did not know she belonged to young Master Hua. Had I known, even with 10 times the courage, I would not have dared to touch her." In front of him stood 7 or 8 youths, the leader of whom cast his gaze downward, silent, casually lighting a cigarette with an expensive lighter, his fingers still stained with splotches of blood. His demeanor exuded a chilling indifference, and amid the swirling smoke, he appeared even more detached and unapproachable. Without sparing a glance for the man on the ground, he merely gestured lazily to the side, prompting 2 bodyguards to swiftly seize the man and drag him into a dark alley. The sound of his anguished cries pierced the air, heart-wrenching and despairing. For I was not positioned too far from the scene, yet the man's terror rendered his words indistinct to me initially. However, upon observing the middle-aged man's pale face and dazed expression, I instinctively perceived a group of wealthy young men bullying him, propelled by an overwhelming sense of justice. With righteous indignation, I approached the leading youth and boldly inquired, "Hey, what are you doing? A group of you ganging up on one man. Do you have no sense of shame?" The leader frowned and looked at me, a flicker of malice glimmering in his eyes. The surrounding individuals fell silent. Even the man who had been wailing ceased his cries, and an eerie stillness enveloped the scene. It seemed no one dared to address Huatingxian in such a manner. Their faces were etched with a stark warning. You are doomed. At that moment, I was completely unaware of Hua Tingshuan's true identity. Although I could glean a hint from their expressions, I paid it no heed. I stepped closer, locking eyes with Hua Tingxian, my chin raised defiantly. The proximity allowed me to catch the crisp scent of cedar and a faint trace of smoke emanating from him. Just as I approached him, the malevolence in his gaze dissipated, replaced by a moment of bewilderment. 5. Just as I believed my fate was sealed, Hua Tingxian executed a shocking maneuver. He leaned in slightly, his nose brushing against my neck, inhaling my scent with an almost ravenous delight. His grip was unyielding, my hand ensnared in his. I struggled to break free, yet he remained as steadfast as a rock. After what felt like an eternity, he seemed to be satisfied and released me. I immediately clutched my neck, turning to glare at him. Damn it! You're a pervert. The companions surrounding Hua Tingxian observed him with trepidation, fearful that he might accidentally crush me. Yet, instead of expressing anger at my words, Hua Tingxian calmly elucidated the situation. He drugged my girlfriend's drink. Is it unreasonable for me to give him a beating? I felt a flicker of doubt, glancing back at the man cowering on the ground, who appeared to have regained his senses, repeatedly bowing and murmuring. I'm sorry, young Master Hua. I truly won't dare again. Please spare me this once. Only upon hearing that title did I comprehend the gravity of the situation I had unwittingly stumbled into, and worse still, I found myself in the wrong. I awkwardly turned back, forcing a strained smile. It was a misunderstanding. I apologize, young Master Hua. I was mistaken. Hua Tingxian slightly furrowed his brow, seemingly in a quandary. What shall we do then? Being misunderstood makes me quite displeased. Tell me, how should I discipline you? His tone was as casual as if he were inquiring about dinner plans, yet I was drenched in cold sweat, which trickled down my forehead, only to be gently wiped away by someone. I heard a voice exclaim, Isn't young Master Hua a germaphobe? Then, a melodious voice whispered in my ear, Become my friend, and I shall forgive you. 6. Subsequently, in a haze, I added Hua Tingxian on WeChat and unexpectedly found myself assigned to the same dormitory as him. In truth, it was not entirely surprising. Changsu University has never allocated dormitories based on academic performance but rather on social hierarchy. The upscale dormitories are situated within a villa district, where students boast extensive backgrounds, and amidst them, I, the newly affluent, stood out like a sore thumb. It was clear who orchestrated this disruption of Changsu University's century-old tradition. Only that individual could achieve such a feat when it comes to Hua Tingxian. Having him as a friend is indeed a privilege. He is exceedingly generous. On my birthday, he gifted me a watch worth millions, and knowing my admiration for a particular idol, he took me to see their concert during the holidays. Not only did I enjoy the best seats in the house, but I also had the opportunity to meet the idol backstage for a photo. He welcomed me into his social circle, introduced me to his parents, and proudly referred to me as his closest brother. Whenever my parents faced business difficulties, he was always there to lend a helping hand. Yet, deep down, I understood that I was merely an emotional stabilizer for him. His friends remarked that since my presence in Ho's life, he no longer sought out bar fights, and his smoking had significantly diminished. When I was around, his temper rarely flared. Even in moments of intense anger, a whiff of my scent would immediately soothe him. Strangely enough, even with the awareness of my role as his emotional anchor, I found myself uncontrollably enamored with him. My affection for him was, after all, quite understandable. Hua Tingxian is extraordinarily handsome, his visage seemingly sculpted with meticulous care, exuding an aggressive charm and wild allure. Even in the simplest white t-shirt, he effortlessly commands attention as he walks down the street. His physique is equally impressive, tall and athletic, with broad shoulders tapering to a narrow waist, complemented by well-defined abs. Of course, it is not merely his appearance that captivates. His charisma is formidable. He possesses a wealth of knowledge about historical figures, cultural customs from around the globe, and the prospects within various fields, articulating them in an engaging and accessible manner. Yet, I am acutely aware that he does not harbor feelings for me. Throughout our 4 years at university, he has had several girlfriends. I recognize the type he is attracted to: bright, elegant women, not the slender and boyish, certainly not someone like me. Thus, I have kept my affections hidden, knowing I could not bear to witness Hua Tingxian marry and have children, making my departure inevitable. Chinsu, why do you keep staring at your phone lately? Are you waiting for a message from a girl you fancy? My roommate, Zhang Peng, teased with a mischievous grin. No, I replied softly, shaking my head. Unconvinced, Zhang Peng wrapped an arm around my neck and playfully squeezed. I don't believe you. Just tell me who it is. I found myself at a loss for words, for I truly had no romantic interests. I was waiting for a message from someone else. Ever since he sent me that one message, there had been a deafening silence, as if he had vanished into thin air. Days passed in anxious anticipation, my unease only intensifying. Just then, a commotion erupted outside the school gates, and a crowd began to gather. Zhang Peng, ever the enthusiast for excitement, tugged me along to join the throng. When we arrived, a large crowd had already formed at the entrance, and Zhang Peng, towering above the rest, suddenly exclaimed, "Wow, isn't this the kind of scene you only see in novels, where a domineering CEO captures his runaway wife?" Unable to see clearly from my position at the back, I asked what is happening. After a moment's contemplation, he replied, "There are over a dozen black luxury cars, each flanked by 2 bodyguards in black suits." He frowned, as if his description fell short of capturing the spectacle, and then gestured grandly, "I can't quite describe it. Come on, let me show you." With that, he draped his arm over my shoulder and pushed forward through the crowd. As we reached the front, I spotted Ho Tingxian immediately, seated in one of the cars, his expression heavy with anger and agitation. In just a few days, his aura had become much more formidable. He did not notice me, engrossed in conversation with the bodyguards beside him. I stood frozen, recalling Ho Tingxuan's ominous words, "Just wait for your demise." Without thinking, I wriggled free from Zhang Peng's grasp and attempted to slip away, praying that Ho Tingxian would not catch sight of me. I forgot that finding me would be child's play for him, but at that moment, I had no time to ponder. However, fate had other plans. Zhang Peng, noticing my departure, called out behind me in his booming voice, "Chan Su, why are you leaving?" "I'm just getting to the front." "Hey, why are you walking so fast? Wait for me." The instant he shouted my name, I felt a scorching gaze settle upon me. My instincts screamed that Ho Tingxian had noticed me, yet the throng of onlookers prevented my escape. Moments later, a regimented sound of footsteps cut through the crowd, parting the sea of people around me. I looked up to see a circle of bodyguards surrounding me, trapping me in their midst. From behind, I heard a low, gravelly voice that sent chills down my spine. "I caught you, Chin Su." I was escorted into the car by Ho Tingxuan's bodyguards. The instant the door shut, Ho Tingxian lunged at me without warning, pinning me against the back seat. The driver, sensing the commotion, discreetly raised the partition. Ho Tingxian buried his face in the crook of my neck, inhaling my scent with a mix of greed and urgency. I could feel his cool lips brushing against my heated skin, his breath cascading over my neck. Uncomfortable, I pushed him away slightly, only to have him seize my hand and pin it to the top of my head with surprising force, causing a sharp sting. "Don't move," he commanded, his tone deep and laden with displeasure, as he pressed his palm against my waist with a firm grip. Ho Tingxian was evidently angered by my decision to discreetly change schools. After what felt like an eternity, the storm cloud hovering above him began to dissipate, yet he remained atop me. Propping himself up with one hand beside my ear, he fixed his penetrating gaze upon me. When he finally spoke, his tone was less hostile, though far from gentle. "Who was that man holding you?" I gazed back at him, memories of graduation day flooding my mind. On that day, our class held a farewell party, and Ho Tingxian accompanied me. I had intended to confess my feelings to him, but just as I reached the corridor's bend, I saw a girl standing before him. Her cheeks flushed, yet she mustered the courage to say, "Ho Tingxian, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend?" Ho Tingxian maintained his usual calm demeanor, his expression indifferent. "I'm sorry, but I don't like you." Then, I heard her ask, "Is it because of Chun Su? Ever since he came along, you haven't dated anyone. Do you like him?" Hidden behind a pillar, my fingers tightened in nervousness, crumpling the love letter I had written. I held my breath, straining to hear Ho Tingxuan's response. To my dismay, he let out a cold laugh, as if my existence was a joke. How could I like him? He's a boy. I'm not gay. Yet now, his first inquiry was not a reprimand for my secretive school transfer, but rather tinged with a hint of jealousy regarding my relationship with Zhang Peng. At that moment, my hidden feelings surged to the surface, and I wondered if perhaps he harbored some affection for me, albeit unrecognized. I knew this was merely my conjecture, bordering on the absurd, but the mere possibility sent my heart racing with excitement. I longed to confess my feelings to him, and in that instant, it reached its zenith. I met his gaze, laced with tentative hope. "Aren't you curious why I changed schools?" His expression darkened instantly. "How can you even ask? Tell me why." I looked intently into Ho Tingxuan's eyes, my resolve unwavering. "Because I like you. I can't bear to watch you fall for someone else. Which is why I secretly changed my application." He gazed at me for a long while before suddenly scoffing. "Chansu, are you truly that foolish? Do you think that by making such a jest, I will simply overlook the fact that you deceived me?" I immediately retorted, "I was not joking." He continued to stare at me. Then a smirk graced his lips as he released the hand that had been propped against my ear, his weight pressing down upon me as he casually remarked, "Is that so? Then prove it to me." I inquired, "How am I to prove it?" He arched an eyebrow, his slender fingers lightly tapping his lips as he languidly uttered 2 words. "Kiss me." My mind erupted in a cacophony, leaving me momentarily dazed as I stared at him. "What did you say?" His laughter grew more exuberant. "Didn't you say you liked me? What, are you too timid to even kiss me?" I fixated on his lips, which moved enticingly, a singular thought echoing in my mind. He asked me to kiss him. Could this signify that he harbored feelings for me? "Chinsu, next time, choose someone more suitable." I lifted my head and gently pressed my lips against his incessantly chattering mouth, my gaze unwavering upon Hu Tingxian. He appeared momentarily stunned but showed no hint of revulsion. I closed my eyes, deepening the kiss, gradually surrendering to the sweetness between his lips and teeth. But before I could savor it properly, I was abruptly shoved away, my back colliding forcefully with the car door, a sharp pain shooting through me. What was even more unbearable was opening my eyes to see Hu Tingxian. His face twisted in disgust as he wiped his lips, declaring, "Chansu, you are truly revolting." My face turned pale in an instant, trembling as I struggled to find words. He coldly commanded the driver, "Stop the car." In the next moment, he glowered at me, shouting, "Get out." I stumbled out of the car in a daze. In an instant, the vehicle sped away like an arrow released from a bow, as if something vile were pursuing it. I had never witnessed Hu Tingxian so enraged. It was only natural he would be disgusted with me. Who could accept their closest friend harboring such feelings? How foolish I had been, failing to recognize his jest, believing for a moment that he might also harbor affection for me. It was nothing but a delusion. A man of Hu Tingxuan's stature and standing deserved a lady of noble birth, raised in elite circles just as he was. Yet, I truly liked him so much. I blinked back tears, striving to hold them at bay. There was nothing worth crying over. In the next moment, my defenses crumbled completely. My phone had been left in the car, leaving me utterly bereft. Even worn-out shoes would not suffice for the journey back to school. I sniffed back my emotions, deciding to save my tears for when I returned home, conserving energy for the walk. After 10 minutes, a black Maybach halted before me, the window rolling down to reveal Hu Tingxuan's bodyguard at the wheel. He courteously nodded, "Young Master Chun, please get in. I will take you home." I asked, "Did your young master send you to fetch me?" He nodded in affirmation. I managed a bitter smile, wishing he could be a bit harsher with me. Perhaps then I wouldn't be so fond of him. Yet, he always seemed to provide hope just when I was on the verge of giving up, hinting that I was different to him. But after I mustered the courage, he shattered all my hopes without a trace of mercy. Once inside the car, the bodyguard handed me my phone and offered a few rare words of comfort. "Young Master Chan, do not be disheartened. The young master will not hold a grudge against you for long. To him, you are undoubtedly special. In his childhood, his parents were often busy, and he was raised by a nanny." He continued, that nanny had her own issues and would often mistreat him when the master and mistress were away, which led to his volatile temperament and aversion to others. But since meeting you, he has become much calmer. The doctor even remarked on his improvement. He is likely upset with you for deceiving him, but in time he will be fine. He remained blissfully unaware of what had transpired in the car, mistakenly believing Hu Tingxian was angry due to my not applying to the same school. I sighed in resignation. It's not about that. It's about something far more serious, something that crossed his boundaries. He chuckled nonchalantly. Whatever the issue, the young master will forgive you. I dare say you are the closest person to him, aside from the future young mistress. Can't I be his closest person? I muttered under my breath, only to have him pick up on my words with surprising acuity. He replied, "You might be crossing a line. Even the best of friends cannot lie between the young master and the future young mistress. You certainly cannot share a bed with the young master while the future young mistress sleeps alone. You are merely good friends, not a scheming mother-in-law from a family drama." I was left speechless. Upon arriving at the school, Zhang Peng was waiting at the entrance. Seeing my pale face, he opened his mouth to ask, "Are you all right?" I nodded, saying nothing. Observing my listless demeanor, he surprisingly displayed some wit. "You didn't get rejected after confessing, did you?" I glanced at him. It was rare for anyone to connect two men in such a way. He met my gaze without flinching, and in that moment, I understood that he and I were alike. Zhang Peng patted my shoulder, offering comfort. "It's all right. I had it worse. I once stole a kiss from my uncle just to clarify, there's no blood relation. He called me disgusting and shouted for me to leave. I choked on my own words, wishing he hadn't tried to console me. Who hasn't faced rejection?" He noticed my expression and awkwardly rubbed his nose. "Never mind. Let me buy you a drink. We one stop until we're drunk." As we walked towards the bar, he suddenly asked, "By the way, are you a 1 or a 0? I replied, 1. He burst into laughter. "With your little arms and legs, and that pert backside, you must be a 0. I shot him a glare. "Why can't I be a 1? What about you?" "I'm a 0. I glanced at his muscular physique, incredulous. "You're a 0? He ground his teeth. "What can I do?" "He's a 1. Our eyes met in a moment of silent understanding, and we began to ponder the absurdity of it all. However, we remained oblivious to the fact that several girls behind us had overheard our conversation, leading to a post titled "Graduate Student in Finance Willing to be a 0 for Love" going viral online the following day. When I awoke, Zhang Peng was showing me the post, which recounted our conversation from the previous day, albeit with the details all mixed up. They assumed Zhang Peng and I were a couple and believed he was willing to be a 0 for me. I opened the comments section. "Help. Who is shipping this new CP? Muscular top and delicate bottom. I'm starving. I devour anything. Haha, not to mention they make quite the pair. Could we switch their positions though? Help. He truly loves him. I'm in tears. Being a 0 for love is just too cool." I pulled back the curtain to see Zhang Peng grinning like a fool below and asked, "Should we clarify this?" Zhang Peng immediately shook his head. "No way. You have no idea. My uncle just called. He was furious, asking about our relationship. You don't know him. He's usually unflappable, but he's never been this angry before. He must be jealous." He looked up at me with tear-filled eyes. "Brother, you have to help me out, and besides, you can also test whether he truly doesn't like you. There is no need for further probing. I have already discerned his lack of affection for me. From this moment forth, I shall no longer indulge in vain hopes." Yet, if Zhang Peng were to succeed, it would not be without merit. I waved my hand dismissively, saying, "Whatever." This post only garnered attention for a brief morning, and by the time I returned from class in the afternoon, it had vanished from search results. Just as I was preparing to explore alternative keywords, Gu Ming's call came through. "Hello, Sugo. Could you possibly talk to Huagu? He has been in a particularly foul mood since yesterday, and this morning, after seeing something I know not what, his expression was as dark as coal. He is currently at the bar drinking. Please, you are the only one he listens to." What could I say? I was the one who had ignited that fire. I was the cause of his anger. Not to mention, the mere sound of my voice would likely send him into a rage. After some contemplation, I carefully replied, "I am not in a position to do so at the moment. Our relationship, undefined and intimate, still bore the weight of my initiating the kiss. Indeed, it was not an opportune moment. Chinsu, who are you calling? Did we not agree to take a shower together?" In the next moment, a loud crash echoed from the other end, akin to a bottle being violently smashed to the ground, and then the call abruptly ended. I stared blankly at my phone, a wave of sharp pain coursing through me. He truly despised me. The mere sound of my voice had incited such fury. I pocketed my phone and turned to Zhang Peng. "Why do you speak so carelessly?" When I said together, I meant we would return to the dorm to shower. Seeing the amused expressions of those around us, I hastily closed my mouth, realizing my own words were rather inappropriate, and quickly pulled Zhang Peng away. The following days unfolded in their usual manner, eating, sleeping, researching, an ordinary graduate student's life. Hua Tingxian had not contacted me since, severing all ties. Zhang Peng had also fallen out with his uncle. How could he go on a blind date? That scoundrel, does he not prefer men? How can he deceive other girls? Why not just hurt me instead of dragging others into his mess? As I assisted him back, he suddenly turned, intoxicated, and asked, "Do you like me? Tell me, do you like me?" I recognized he had mistaken me for someone else. Seeing that I offered no response, he seemed prepared to wait until dawn for an answer. I decided to humor him, mimicking his uncle, and patted his back. "Yes, I adore our little Peng. You are my favorite in the whole world." He gazed at me, astonished joy flickering in his eyes. "Really? I am your favorite?" I nodded. He laughed and collapsed into my embrace, whispering, "I like you too, little uncle." Just as I prepared to guide Zhang Peng into the school, I caught a fleeting glimpse of a familiar figure in the distance, but it vanished too quickly for me to discern. For reasons unknown, I felt an inexplicable sadness emanating from that silhouette. As I contemplated pursuing it, Zhang Peng suddenly vomited profusely. I was then occupied with the mess, unable to focus on anything else. Finally lying down, I abruptly recalled that the figure had resembled Hua Tingxian. I shook my head, finding the notion absurd. Why would he seek me out? He would prefer to keep his distance. Later, I heard from others that Hua Tingxian had gone abroad, reportedly due to a worsening of his manic disorder, seeking treatment overseas. His mother visited me several times, asking for some of my clothes, asserting they might aid Hua Tingxian's condition. I felt a pang of guilt. Had I not kissed him, his illness might not have escalated so severely. Consequently, I sent my clothes to his foreign address until his health improved. 6 years later, Xiao He, with a furrowed brow, inquired, "Director Chun, with the company being acquired and no word from the new boss, are we all in jeopardy of being laid off? What if the new owner is a micromanager?" I smiled reassuringly. "No need for alarm. There have been no indications of layoffs. Let us remain optimistic. The new boss is due to arrive shortly." At that moment, a notification chimed in the company group chat. The new boss is about to arrive at the marketing department. Simultaneously, the elevator doors opened with a chime, revealing a group of executives escorting a sharply dressed man. His features were striking, and his demeanor was notably colder, exuding an aura of maturity and authority far more potent than 6 years prior, rendering him intimidating to approach. I stood frozen, captivated by his presence, until Xiao He tugged at my sleeve, pulling me back to reality. I pinched my palm to regain composure and forced a smile as I approached, saying, "Good day, boss." He glanced at me with indifference, his expression devoid of recognition, merely nodding politely before resuming conversation with the shareholders. Hua Tingxian did not linger long in the marketing department before departing. I was uncertain whether to feel relieved or disheartened. Upon reflection, since I had let go of grievances, my job seemed secure. However, just as I settled into my chair, a new message appeared in the company group. "Director Chin Su, please report to the president's office immediately." Xiao He glanced at me. "Director, you do not have any history with the new boss, do you? Why would he want to see you right away?" I forced a smile. "Of course not. Do not entertain such thoughts. It was not merely a matter of history. The new boss would likely relish the opportunity to confront me. The seemingly amiable man before me had a tendency to forcibly kiss others. How terrifying." In the president's office, Hua Tingxian lounged casually in the executive chair, and the moment I entered, his gaze locked onto my face. For reasons I could not fathom, his eyes seemed to harbor unfathomable depths, as if he were suppressing a tempest of emotions. I lowered my head to gather my thoughts, then raised it again, presenting an impeccable facade. "President, what do you require of me?" His brow furrowed slightly, as if displeased with my formality. He clicked his tongue and stated, "Return it to me." What? I pondered what I might have taken from Hua Tingxian that I had yet to return. I had no recollection of any such thing. As I contemplated this, he suddenly stood before me, casting a shadow over my thoughts. His eyes surged with unrestrained intensity, revealing possessiveness and aggression. Instinctively, I stepped back, my voice trembling as I stammered, "Return what?" He seized my hand, pinning me to the office sofa, one hand restraining both of mine above my head, while the other leisurely traced from my neck to my lips, pressing gently. "The kiss you stole 8 years ago, return it to me." My mind went blank. "Do you even realize what you are saying?" Hua Tingxian bent down and captured my lips with his, silencing all my protests. Just as I felt the world closing in on me, He finally released me, his fingers brushing against my slightly swollen lips as he regarded me with an inscrutable expression. Did your ex-boyfriend not teach you how to kiss? I was bewildered. What ex-boyfriend? His fingers pressed insistently against my lips. Liar. I winced at the pain, tears welling in my eyes. I am not lying. I have no ex-boyfriend. He regarded me with a bemused expression, as if amused by my plight. Do you know? 6 years ago I sought you out. I overheard you professing your affection for him, stating he was your favorite in the world, and you even called him Little Pong. Suddenly, the memory of that familiar silhouette resurfaced. He had indeed come looking for me. But why? Why did you seek me out? He buried his head against my neck, inhaling my scent with abandon. I'm sorry. I didn't realize my feelings for you back then. It was merely the sight of you with someone else that triggered an uncontrollable urge within me. On that day, I brought chains with the intention of confining you to my side, for I wished for you to belong solely to me, to gaze only upon me, and to converse exclusively with me. Do you know what crossed my mind when I heard you confess your affections for someone else? I thought just days prior, you professed your love for me, and now, so soon after, you have turned your affections elsewhere. If that is the case, then perhaps that tongue should be silenced. A chill coursed down my spine, my body instinctively breaking into a cold sweat. He raised his hand to gently wipe the perspiration from my forehead, suddenly chuckling softly. Terrifying, isn't it? I too share that sentiment, which is why I allowed them to take me abroad. I believed it was necessary for my recovery, lest I commit acts that would harm you. These years abroad have been tumultuous. I have missed you dearly, wondering what you were up to, whether you were still with that person. Each time I see the clothes you send, I think of how you've added new pieces to your wardrobe, your taste remaining as questionable as ever. Have you changed your body wash because that person prefers it? The doctor informed me that my condition would not improve. It persisted over the years until I heard that Zhang Peng had found a new lover, which made me feel that perhaps I no longer needed treatment. Susu, I acknowledge that I have hurt you in the past, and I am aware of my wrongdoings. Would you find it in your heart to forgive me? Susu, could you show me some kindness? Overwhelmed by an influx of information, my mind buzzed incessantly. This was not as it seemed. Huatingxian, this is not right. You are attracted to women. I took his hand and pressed it against my chest, guiding it downwards. Do you feel it? Our bodies are alike in structure. You cannot possibly be attracted to me, you are straight. His long fingers traced my abdomen, his gaze unadorned and nearly bare as it met mine. I do. As if fearing I might doubt him, he added, I like you. My mind spun from those two declarations, and before I could restrain myself, I blurted out, Huatingxian, come to my house for ramen tonight. I cannot recall how I exited the office. It was only upon my return to my own workspace that I jolted awake, frantically tugging at my hair and silently raging. Damn it, Chensu, what are you saying? Is your mind deranged? What was I doing? Should I clarify to Huatingxian that I merely meant to share a casual meal of ramen? Ha! What a splendid idea. Nonsense. In such a context, who would assume it was merely about ramen? Perhaps I should flee, but escape from a monk does not mean escaping the temple. Time slipped away unnoticed as I gazed at Huatingxian, patiently awaiting my departure from work across the desk, swallowing hard. Perhaps you should head back first. I still have a considerable amount of work. He looked at me with a bemused smile. Not finished yet? Upon hearing this, I eagerly nodded, yes, there's quite a bit to do. You should return. It's a waste of your time. Suddenly, he rose, approached me from behind, and gently enveloped me in his embrace. His heated chest pressed firmly against my back, his hand covering mine as he maneuvered the mouse. His face hovered close enough for me to feel his scorching breath against my ear, sending tingles through half my body. It's all right, I'll assist you. Finally, under Huatingxian's efficient work ethic, we exited the office at 8:30, finished dinner by 9, and then he took my hand as we headed to the convenience store. Amidst the cashier's suggestive glances, he boldly inquired, is there anything you wish to purchase? I felt embarrassment creeping up my toes. You can decide whatever you like. At 9:20, we returned to his home. He instructed me to take a shower. At 10, he warned that if I didn't finish soon, he would join me. At 10:15, he emerged from the shower and blow-dried my hair. By 10:25, he pinned me down. As I watched his eager movements, I thought to myself that if he saw my body, he might recoil. I contemplated this in my mind. Then I cried until morning. Woke up, Huatingxian entered, carrying a bowl of pear soup. I opened my eyes to see the man standing in the doorway, wearily lifting my hand. He instinctively brought his face closer, and I weakly slapped his cheek. If you do that again, I'll slap your face to pieces. His smile was one of pure satisfaction. So, does this mean you forgive me? Forgiveness? It hardly seemed applicable. Huatingxian had done no wrong, as he was, at that moment, undoubtedly straight, and his reactions were entirely normal. Before today, my worst fear had been that we would part ways after I had bared myself to him, with him claiming he could not proceed. But it seemed he truly did not mind that I was a man and genuinely liked me. So, what was I still struggling with? After all, he had been my crush since adolescence. Huatingxian, my ring size is 15 centimeters on my ring finger. Upon hearing this, he leaned in, delighted, and kissed the corner of my lips. I know. I measured it while you were asleep. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and give a thumbs up in support. Until we meet again in the next story.